In English as the leader of the werewolf pack, he finds his destined mate is a human girl who is not only abused but also clueless about the werewolf world. He must choose between protecting her and safeguarding his pack. Thank you for your subscription and likes. What would you do if it were you? You can leave your thoughts in the comments section. Chapter 1. I race through the forest, my jet black fur blowing in the wind as I do. This is what being free feels like. The wind against my fur, my paws carrying me fast. The feeling is exhilarating. I stop by a cliff overlooking the magnificent forest with a small human town somewhere in it, and I let out a loud and powerful howl. Birds fly from the trees in all directions. I turn around and continue running, jumping over logs and dodging trees, missing them by no more than mere inches. My paws move fast on the unset paths of the forest, allowing me to travel as far as I want through the expanse of nature. I stop by a peaceful lake to drink, lowering my head and drinking the cool water, happy to refresh myself after running for as long as I have been. I feel the cool water on my tongue and the soft grass beneath my paws as I watch the calm ripples in the crystal clear water. I suddenly catch a whiff of the most intoxicating smell. It is quite faint, but it's definitely there, and it's amazing. The beautiful scent of vanilla, roses and chocolate which demands my immediate attention. I lift my head as it gets closer and I stalk towards it, curious and drawn to it. I creep to the bushes and lie in wait to see what is giving off the scent. After only a few seconds of patiently waiting and anticipating the source of the scent, I can hear footsteps approaching nearby in my direction. I look through the bush to see a beautiful human girl with shoulder-length loose golden brown hair that have soft curls. I feel the strange urge to comb my fingers through her soft tresses and to stroke her hair. Her fair, slightly pale skin looks so soft and smooth, and it glows beautifully. She wears a pleated denim blue skirt reaching just about or below her mid-thighs. She has a crisp white top with straps and elasticated off the shoulder sleeves tucked into it, and with it a pair of white sneakers. She gives off the most intoxicating scent as she walks by me, looking at the nature with a sketchbook resting on her one arm while she sketches, not looking my way. I can't help but be mesmerized by the human girl, and I quietly and unnoticeably follow her, watching her every move with great interest as her hips sway naturally with each step. She reaches the lake, and I watch as she sits down and crosses her legs and stares at the waterfall and sketches as if it's a daily routine. I stare at her, wanting a closer look, but knowing if she spots me like this I may scare her off for good, and if I shift it would look as if I'd been stalking her and I'd scare her off. So I stay hiding, longing for her touch and to hear her voice, which I am sure is an angelic one, to complement her already angelic looks. I silently lie down and rest my wolf head on my front paws, my tail waging a little. As each second passes, my feeling of running to her gets stronger. I want to leave before I go to her, but I can't. I have to follow her, find out where she lives, her schedule. I have to know more about her. She lifts her arm and looks at a white watch with a few diamonds in it. However, they look fake, luckily, because I wouldn't want to try follow her to a mansion. The watch does not look too new, but still in good condition from what I can see. She quickly gets up and dusts herself off, closing her book, and I silently whimper, having a feeling she'll be going. She turns around and I see her face. It's beautiful. She has beautiful, piercing green-blue eyes, mesmerizing ones. The type that you could stare at and feel as if they are windows to her soul, and to complement them she has gorgeous cherry red rosy lips, which I want to kiss. Mate. My wolf side begins to go wild. I begin nipping at my paws, inflicting slight pain to distract myself from the gorgeous angel as my tail wags like a puppy's would when its owner brought it its favorite treats. She begins to run, seeming to be in a rush, and I follow her behind the trees and bushes, staying out of sight but making sure I keep up with her, knowing I can't dare to lose her now. She doesn't seem to run as fast as me, but then my type run much faster than humans. I shift near the edge of the forest and follow her out secretly in my cut-off sleeve black top with a silver howling wolf on the back, my ripped shorts and my black tackies, my hand running through my raven black messyish hair. My hands go to the pockets of my shorts as I act as if I'm on a similar path to her. I watch from the corner of my eye as she quickly opens a gate and runs to the door of a 2-story house. I use my advanced hearing to listen in, and I hear the sound of a slap. A hand hitting her. I can hear her hitting the floor, and I hear her whimper and whatever comes before scream in pain. I can't do anything to save her. I can only stand in front of her house and listen, horrified by the sounds of my human mate in pain. I listen as she is shouted at and disciplined for going missing curfew by a minute, and I clench my fists, internally growling, my inner wolf going mad, howling to be let out and go help his mate. Go make supper now. A dominant male voice shouts at the girl after an hour of beatings. I want to help her, but I can't just barge in there. I'll expose myself and my pack and probably frighten off my poor little mate. If I were to somehow get a hold of the authorities, she'll be taken away and I will be unable to get her whilst she is protected. Yes, father, she says softly. You better not come late again, you know the rules. For every minute late, there is an hour of beatings you'll get within a week as a consequence. He shouts at her before throwing a punch to her face, and I hear her fall to the floor. His voice sounds drunken and I smell it too. Where is supper? A female voice screeches. I was about to start making it, mother. She whimpers, getting to her, and I growl softly and turn away and walk off before I do something I likely won't regret. I reach the forest and turn into my magnificent wolf form and run to the pack house in the center of the woods, where I shift back to my human form, proudly flexing my muscles. Hey Lon, where have you been? Your runs never take this long. James says. It was nothing, I guess, Jay. I shrug, walking in a bad mood. Dylan, what is going on? You're always in a better state of mind after your runs. He says. Something wonderful then terrible happened and I don't want to talk about it. I say, clenching my fists, growling at my beta. Wow, I've never seen you like this, the blood alpha, Alpha Dylan. Zach, my gamma, says, chuckles. Stay out of it. I growl, angered. Hey dude, calm down, we're your friends and I'm your beta. Just talk to us, okay? James says calmly. I need you to help me kidnap someone. I say, dead serious. Chapter 2. I snuggle into my warm pillow, hugging it as I do every night after I sob into it and punch it like a normal teenage girl trying to get out all her pent-up feelings. My wet hair clings to my gray pajama top, which has an image of a beautiful black wolf, as I lie tucked in my cozy bed, praying for things to get better for my parents and for me to feel better about myself. Once I finish praying, I close my eyes and instantly fall asleep. Exhausted. I wake up suddenly in the middle of the night to the sound of the window breaking, and I can barely process what is happening as I hardly can see who is entering in the darkness, with all I can see being blurs, and I rub my eyes trying to track their speed in the terrible lighting. I get out my bed and run towards the door, opening my mouth to scream for my parents, who have hopefully sobered up out of their sadness for the night by now, and even if they haven't, they are not sadistic. If they hear me screaming, they will come and help me if I'm being attacked by strangers. Suddenly a cloth touches my lips and covers my mouth and nose, and I struggle pointlessly. Breathe it in, you'd rather be asleep than awake when being taken right. A man says, Hemo. I scream, muffled. I soon find the need for air, and I allow myself to breathe, and black dots fill my vision as I fall back and into a man's arms, my body limp and unconscious. The door to the pack house opens to the two men carrying a black duffel bag and handing it over to me. You haven't told us why we just kidnapped a defenseless and helpless human girl. We should maybe return her actually before she wakes up. Jason says. I growl. I'm sorry then. James says. I begin unzipping the bag to find the girl tied up and curled in a small ball. My hand gently brushes some hair out her face, and I pick her up out the bag and lie her beautiful body on the table. I snap her ropes and lie her flat on her back. My fingers trace the wolf print on her top. Alpha. Zach asks. What? I ask, snapping out my trance. I was just asking if you want us to take her to a room or the dungeon. He says. She's coming to my room, and don't you ever think of putting my mate in a cell again. I growl, and their jaws drop open. You found your mate and you didn't tell us. James exclaims. Well, I wanted to explain everything to her first, get her acquainted with our world. It's not often we get human mates, but I want to ensure she is well informed. I can't let everyone else scare her, so you better keep this quiet. I say, yes. They reply, excited. The entire pack has been waiting for a Luna since I took over when I was 16 after my parents died in a rouge attack. We find our mates at 16 and I'm 19. They've been waiting 3 years. That's longer than it sounds. My fingers drift against the girl's soft skin. Her heartbeat is a beautiful beat. Her breathing an intoxicating rhythm. Her skin is soft and smooth until it touches a cut covered with tissues and cello tape, the same way most cuts are covered. I begin ripping them off her, and some water and plasters are brought, and I begin treating her injuries. Every touch sends a spark through my body, the kind that makes me feel pleasure. I feel needed even if she hasn't asked for my help. I know she needs help and providing for her makes me happy. She suddenly begins to stir, moving around as she wakes up. I'm not ready for her to wake up. Knock her unconscious again. I whisper and a cloth is put to her mouth and nose and she soon collapses back on the table. There we go, she needs to sleep and have her injuries fixed before waking up. I say, putting on another plaster on her beautiful body. Chapter 3. Where am I? What is this place? Why is the door locked? I struggle to force the locked door open, kicking at it and pulling and pushing the door with my low amount of strength. I drop to my knees and look at my hands. They are bleeding from my nails penetrating my skin and from the door handle as I tried to force it open. Tears run down my pale cheeks as I begin to sob, scared as I remember my kidnapping. Those men. Who now? What were they? They moved so fast. They were so strong. They couldn't have been human, so what were they and why am I here? I hear sobbing from the other side of the door and I realize my mate had woken up and is alone and crying. I had had it all planned out to be by her side when she woke up, to take it calmly and gently and to comfort her and explain everything to her. But she had to wake up while I was in a pack meeting. I turn the lock in the door and open the door. I look at the beautiful human girl. Her eyes filled with tears, but even so she looks gorgeous. Her eyes are lit up by the water. I stand in the doorway looking down on the girl. I notice her body trembling as she begins to back away. I smell blood on her. Fresh blood. Hey there, it's all okay, you don't need to be afraid of me. I say, closing the door and locking it and putting the key in my pocket. I slowly walk towards the girl. Get away from me. She screams, terrified. Don't scream. I'm not going to harm you, I say. That's what you'd say if you were going to harm me. Get away, you whatever you are. She screams, covering her face. I take a step towards my mate and she curls against the wall, her body shaking in my presence. Here, this is the key to the bathroom connecting to your room. Try and escape and I'll catch you and bring you back here. I'll have some food brought up for you. I say, taking a key and throwing it onto the floor next to her. I turn around and glance back at the girl. I'll be coming back later, I suggest you try get used to seeing me. I say, leaving and closing her door, then locking it. I feel so useless. My mate, my own mate, fears me. That look she gave me, the way her hands touched the wall, and she tensed up with every word I spoke, and she turned her face from me. I'll get tortured, me. Jason. Zach. I growl angrily. What's wrong, Alpha? They ask. What didn't you two idiots get about no using any abilities? I shout. What do you mean? Jason asks. My mate woke up and guess what, she didn't dare to even look me in the eye. Instead she backs away and asked me what I was and kept on telling me to get away from her. I assume you two are to blame for one of those, if not both those remarks. She was not to see you. You were to be silent. I growl. She was running for the door. You hadn't told us why you wanted her, so we, Jason says. Well, she fears me now. Not submits, fears. I shout, clenching my fists. I open the bathroom door slowly, hoping it isn't some lab or death trap. I gasp as I see a beautiful bathroom with a bath and shower and marble floors. This isn't what I expected. I walk to the vanity and find some bandages and bandage my hands and stuff. I notice the window is open. I look down to see it's a 2-story house, or possibly more. But I'm on the 2nd floor. I run to the closet and put on a pair of blue denim shorts and a white and blue floral loose top, and I tie my hair in a bun, and I take out all the trousers and dresses and tie them into a long rope. I take the rope into the bathroom and I lock the door behind me. I tie the rope to the door handle and tie the rope around my waist, and I give it a pull to ensure it's sturdy. I know I'm light, so it should be fine. I climb over the window and hold the makeshift rope and lower myself. I untie the rope and make a run for it into the dense woods, having no idea where I am, but I keep running for my life, hoping not to encounter anyone. Chapter 4. Her scent is gone. I exclaim. Wait, what? Zach exclaims. She's gone. James asks. Don't know. I'll check her room. Zach, you're in charge of troops, seeing as you're the Gamma. Increase patrols. Either she has escaped or she has been kidnapped. Make sure it is clear that they are not to use force on her, so they must capture her and bring her to me. If anyone hurts her, it will be returned to them tenfold. Make that clear. She is to be returned straight to me. I say and leave. I unlock the door to find her gone and the cupboard open. I go to the bathroom to find the door locked, and I break it down to find a rope make of clothes. I growl in frustration and go back down. She's definitely escaped. James get the maids to prepare a new room for her and place locks on the windows. She's smarter than she looks. I say, clenching my fists. Cunning one. He asks, tell me about it. She escaped with a rope made from clothes. After you've gotten the orders for her room to be made ready, do a background check. I say, Alpha, what's her name? He asks, I'll find out soon. I growl lowly. I slide under the logs and stuff, trying to make a difficult path to follow. I find a tree and climb it and move swiftly along the branches of the tree to make sure they can't follow my footsteps as well, if they even realize I'm gone, but I doubt they will. That night I was likely hallucinating, or it was a dream that they were so fast. The darkness must have added some weird stuff to my vision. I grab a vine and swing across to another tree, however I miss it. I grab another vine and pull myself up onto the top branch and follow it and climb higher and further along. I eventually get to the top of the trees and realize all I can see is forest. I'm now extremely lost. I go down a bit and keep on going till my energy exhausts and I curl up on a branch. Has anyone found her yet? Ask. No, there's hardly any scent. She's moving too fast. We need her scent to track. Zach says. I think I saw her pajamas in her room. Those should work. I say. I run up to her room and grab her pajamas. Here, this should work. I say. Yeah, got her scent on it, but she's quite far away, it seems. He says. She isn't fast. I say. Seems to be. Maybe it was adrenaline. James says. The branches grow thin and the trees get harder to climb, and I find myself balancing to stay up. I walk slowly, scared of falling. I hear a loud howl followed by others which are nearing, and in my fright I lose my caution and I make a wrong step and the branch breaks and I fall to the forest floor. Ow! I whine in pain as the rocks forve against me with sharper ones cutting me. I get to my feet, accustomed to moving when in pain, and I continue running, although with my energy decreasing steadily it becomes more of a challenge. I trip over a bunch of rocks and tumble down a hill. I look myself over and see numerous cuts, and I see a stream, and right now I sip some of it, regaining some energy, and I continue running. I weave through trees and jump over rocks. I hear more howls getting closer, and I realize the wolves must be attracted by my blood, and I scramble up a tree, grabbing a branch and swinging myself up. This escape was so much easier than it would be if I hadn't done acrobatics when I was little. I did it for only a few years, but it still helps quite a bit. I get a bit further before the branch ends, and I fall off it and land on my stomach. I hear snarling, and I turn my head to see a wolf growling, and it howls loudly, and I scramble to my feet and run for my life. I reach a lake and dive in, hoping the water will slow the wolf. I get to a cliff and I climb it, slipping quite a bit, but still managing to get up and away from the wolf. I hear growling from above me and see wolves there too, and I see a tree near me, and I turn and let go of the stone and push off, managing to grab the tree branch, and I run along the branches, my feet slipping quite a bit till I fall off the branch and land on some soft grass. I try get up but struggle as my body is too low on energy and it is losing blood. I continue to try push myself up. I hear more howling getting closer, and I manage to push myself to my feet, and I continue to run in pain, my fear fueling me with energy to keep me going in this life or death situation. I reach a tree and begin to climb it when a wolf's teeth grab my top and pull. Hey! I scream and I kick the wolf in the nose, and it lets go, whimpering. Sorry, wolf, but I care about my life more than I do about animal cruelty when the animal is about to kill me. I continue climbing the tree and find a vine and grab it and swing across. I feel myself stop in midair, and I see a wolf's jaws on the vine, and more wolves join it, pulling at the vine like a tug of war with the tree the vine is attached to. They succeed, much to my disappointment, and I fall down with the rope on me, and wolves encircle me, surrounding their prey, while I struggle to get up, only to find my body too weak. Tears fall from my eyes. A wolf's canines sink into the back of my top, and I am pulled to a rock where they tie me up in the vine somehow, which I can't see since my head is hanging weakly off the rock. I feel my body hoisted up, and I see I'm in someone's shoulders, and there are men instead of wolves. They must use wolves as trackers. Let me go. I scream, thrashing around, however they don't respond, and I begin to sob, hating the idea of being a prisoner or something in that house. Even if I'm sometimes beat up at home as punishment, at least I can leave the house a bit, and I have school to go to, and I have some freedom. These people don't even pay attention to my crying. I expected to tell me to shut up or something, but they keep silent strangely. Chapter 5 Alpha. We have the girl. She has multiple injuries, however all of them are sustained from trying to get away. We just got back. Should we treat her or bring her to you? Zach says. Bring her straight to me. I want to treat her myself. If she's injured, she can't run from me. I say. I don't know about that. She ran from us when she was injured. It was likely fear, but she kept moving pretty well. If she's properly trained, she could actually make a good warrior. Zach says. As if I'd let her fight. She's your future Luna and therefore must be protected. Being a warrior means battle. She could get hurt in a fight. Now bring her to me. I seriously need to see her. I say. The girl is carried into my office. Her body is tied up in vines and they close the door after sitting her on a chair. You, she exclaims, definitely angry. I see you've got more spirit now. I say. What do you want with me? She asks. You're not ready to know. I say, getting up, walking to her, and she begins to whimper. I lean down and undo the vines and take them off her. I get out some bandages and stuff and I lift her up and sit her on my desk. I take some cotton pads and begin to disinfect her wounds while she whines in pain. You realize these injuries wouldn't be here if you'd stayed put in your room like a good girl. I say, bandaging her injuries. I wouldn't be trying to escape if you hadn't kidnapped me. She says. I didn't kidnap you. I got my friends to kidnap you, and you better not try escape again, or next time I won't order them not hurt you and I'll let them be rough with you. I say. You think I want to be your captive? 'Cause I don't, and I will get away from you. She says. Try your best, darling, you'll always fail. I run these woods. I say. No, you don't. You know you're despicable using wolves to hunt down people. It's great that you work with wolves, but they are wild animals. They are supposed to be in the woods, not your pets. Dogs have been tamed over centuries. Wolves are supposed to be wild. She says. So you're an animal lover. I ask, raising an eyebrow. Is it that hard to tell? My favorite animals are wolves, and I don't like how you think you can keep them locked up. She says. We keep them in the forest and let them roam free. However, we just call them when we go on hunts. They are used to us, we've grown up with them, and they've grown up with us. We've worked together for centuries. I say. Well, if you are as nice as you're showing yourself to be, why on earth did you kidnap me? She exclaims. Still angry over that. Ask. Who wouldn't be? You're keeping me captive, you could at least tell me why. I mean, keeping me locked up in your mansion without a good reason. Can't you tell me why? Since you don't think I'm ready to know what you plan on doing with me. She asks. Fine, if you really want to know, I took a liking to you a few days ago in the forest. You left suddenly in such a rush, so I followed you and I heard you getting beaten up quite badly, and since I had taken liking to you, I decided to take you away from your troubles by having you kidnapped and taken here. I say, leaving out a few minor details for now. You could have called the police. She says. And then I'd have to testify. I'm sorry, but my group doesn't interact too often with what you consider normal society. A court case would mean a lot of time taken out of running this, you could say, clan or group. Besides, why haven't you called yet? I ask her. Because they are my parents. I don't want to end up in an orphanage or something. She says. And if I called the police, that's what would have happened, don't you think, darling? I took you because I felt sorry for you and decided you'd be better off here not being beaten up and abused. I say. You still can't just kidnap a person. You locked me in a room without a proper explanation for doing so. Besides that, I feel there is something strange going on. She says. Look, I knew you were going to try run out of the room if it was locked. I was with you most of the time when you were unconscious, so I'd be able to calm you down and explain everything to you when you woke up, but you woke up during a meeting and you were so startled when I came to see you I figured you needed to be alone. I say. You know, just because your motives were just, it doesn't mean your methods are right. She says. You'll eventually see it the way I do now. I think we should get you to bed. You must be tired after trying to outrun a pack of wolves for so long. I say, lifting her up in my arms. I'm more exhausted and hungry than tired. Is there any food I can eat? She asks. Okay. I'll get someone to make some and I'll allow you to eat at the table, but on the condition that you behave. I say sternly. Fine. She says. Chapter 6. Make sure Sasha doesn't find out. I hear Dylan's voice instructing the others. Through the closed door. What is he hiding from me? I'm gonna go check on Sasha and make sure she is asleep and all her curtains are closed. Dylan says. I quickly run back up the stairs and get in the bed and pretend to be asleep. The door opens and I hear footsteps that I assume are Dylan's. I feel his fingers on my arm. He then leaves and closes, then locks my bedroom door. I sit up. Why do you always lock my door? I look out my curtains to see wolves running into the forest, and I stare confused at why they are running from the house. Why did he kidnap me? How did he actually hear my parents abusing me, and why won't he let me go? I realize he locked me in, meaning if I leave here he will not know. I manage to find a show with a heel, and I break off the heel and use it to smash the window, and this time I do something stupid and completely reckless. I jump out the window. I land on some soft grass, which breaks my fall, and I run to the other side of the house and enter the forest in the opposite direction to the one the wolves did. If I keep running, sometime I sold find civilization or a river, and if I find a river I can make a boat, and with that, knowing all rivers lead to the sea, I'll make it to a beach and can walk along till I find someone. I smile at my plan, knowing it's terrible, however it is something I can work with. Trees rip at my pajamas, however I don't care, all I want is my freedom. A wolf suddenly pounces on me, pinning me down, snarling. My eyes go wide and my body trembles. A little human wants to play. You have the scent of an alpha on you. Perhaps one has been near you for a while. He smirks. Werewolf. I tremble as every child's nightmare of monsters becomes a reality. Poor lost little girl. He grins and I scream as his canines sink into my arm. Dylan, _. Get off me. Stop. Please stop. Someone help. I stop in my tracks as I hear my beautiful mate screams and please, but she should be in her bed. I catch the scent of her blood. No, Sasha. I say under my breath. Alpha, is something wrong? Alpha. I turn and break into a fast run in the opposite direction, passing the pack house eventually and keeping a straight run till my eyes fall on a wolf tearing the flesh from my mate. I growl angrily. Has someone come to play? The sick voice of Darren, the alpha of the Ashwood pack, says. My eyes fall to my mate, her face contracting in pain, blood staining her clothes and once fair milky skin. I push him off her and skin my canines into him before giving him more injuries. He growls and I growl back, and he knows I've won and he leaves, retreating back to his territory. I walk back to my girl. I gently nudge her arm, putting my nose under it, attempting to help her up, only she doesn't get up. Instead of rising to her feet, she lets out pain whines and moans along with whimpers. I nudge her some more. I slip my nose put from under her, and I like her wounds on her legs and arms, even stomach, to clear the blood loss a bit. I nuzzle into her neck and she relaxes a bit. I want to talk to her and comfort her, but a talking wolf may scare her. I slip myself under her body, her legs hanging off me and her arms and head doing the same, and I manage to get her back to the pack house, and I lie her on the lawn and I sink my canines into the back of her top and I pull her in through the wolf-sized doggy door we installed. I manage to get her on a table and I watch her as she continues to attempt to keep her consciousness. Werewolf. Attack. She mutters before fainting. Chapter 7, Werewolf Attack. I watch my sleeping girl, my eyes wide and glued to her as she lies asleep on the table with blood dripping from her, and I feel so useless, unable to change back and help her yet. After an hour, I finally am able to shift back. I quickly pick her up and take her to my office, where I bandage her before taking her to my room, and I put her in my bed so I can watch her as she sleeps. Sasha. My world spins and I stop as I fall on the ground in darkness. A spotlight fixes on me in the monochromatic black and white world. Hello. Is anybody there? I ask, calling out, my body trembling. I hear growling and I see a dark forest around me. Crimson-red blood stains my skin, the only color in the dull world. I feel hands. Strong, cold hands grip my sides. Hello, human. A man says after turning me and pushing me on the ground so I fall on my back. I see his eyes. His red, dangerous eyes through the dark. His body is tall and rippling with muscle. He is shirtless and his shorts are a bit ripped. His dirty blonde hair is scruffy. His figure constantly shifts to and from the wolf. The werewolf that attacked me. I whimper and tremble, however, frozen to the spot. He sprints towards me in wolf form with glowing eyes. His canines bared and his jaws widen till they sink into my neck and everything goes black. I sit up screaming as my eyes shoot open. Is everything all right? A male voice asks from beside me, and I turn to see Dylan lying shirtless in the bed with me, and I wear different pajamas. I get out the bed and step back. Sasha, he says, his husky voice sending shivers down my spine, and I internally reprimand myself. You slept with me. I whisper. I was worried about you. We went on a run in the forest, and when I returned there was a wolf by your injured body. I didn't want to leave you alone, so I slept with you. I did nothing to you except sleep on an opposite side of the bed. Now are you okay? Why were you screaming? He says, Werewolf. A werewolf attacked me. He had glowing red eyes in my dream. He was a man, then wolf, then man, and finally wolf, and he killed me in my dream. He attacked me. He spoke to me as a wolf. A wolf, though he fought him and saved me.
𝐸𝐴
It's okay, Sasha. Okay, look here, this is why I don't want you in the forest. In certain areas there are werewolves. He says, holding me into his chest. I'm scared. I whimper. I know that's why I tried to keep you here. He knows you're sent now. You cannot leave the house alone or he could come for you and kill you. He says. I move closer into his chest. I'm sorry, Dylan. I whisper. It's okay, I just didn't want to scare you. However, not all werewolves are bad. I know some well, but I suggest you stay away from all werewolves. Some can be deceiving and betray your trust like people, which they technically are, however, at the same time they're wolves. He explains. I feel as if he knows more about this than he is letting on. Why are you here then in an area full of werewolves? I ask, putting my hands on his chest gently as I lean in. He remains silent. Your group, as you called it, you said, doesn't interact with normal society. You could hear me getting abused, and you live in a werewolf-infested forest. If you don't give me a good reason as to why you're here, I will assume you're a werewolf. I say, pushing myself off him and turning my back to him while crossing my arms. You're smarter than I thought. That escaping with that makeshift rope was one thing, but this. You are very smart. You shouldn't have gotten curious, because I will now have to tell you the truth, my princess. He says. The truth. I ask, trembling, not sure if I want to know. We're werewolves, the proper term, however, being lichens. He says. Now that you know, are you afraid of me? He asks. I nod. This is why I wanted to wait till you trusted me, Sasha. He says. Are you going to kill me or eat me now? I ask, trembling. I wouldn't do that to you. We kill trespassers to prevent our secret getting out. However, I took you. You were away from Leakin territory. See, where you were is too close to towns. Being close to humans means higher risk of getting discovered. He says. Why did you kidnap me? I ask, turning to look him in the eyes. Chapter 8. Sasha, why did I kidnap you? He repeats and finishes with a smirk. Yeah, you wouldn't venture towards humans for no reason. I say. I kidnapped you to be my mate. He replies. Mate. I whimper. Yes, we have soul mates and you are mine. You were chosen for me as a perfect match when I turned 16. He says. Was everything a lie? You did it because you wanted a mate, not because you wanted to help me. I exclaim. No, it wasn't like that. I saw you getting beat up and I took you from that because you were my mate. If you weren't being treated like that, I wouldn't have had you kidnapped in such a way. I would have likely taken you once you turned 18, or at least after a few weeks if I got tired of waiting. He says. But kidnapping me. Don't I get any choice in whether I want to be your mate? I say, clenching my fists. We're mates. We're supposed to be together. We belong together. Try deny the bond all you want, but if you think I'll let you leave me, you're dead wrong. I have an entire pack of werewolves at my disposal. Try run away and they'll outrun you and bring you back to me if I don't get you first. It's better to accept me than to keep fighting. He says. You cannot keep me here against my will. I have a right to choose who I am with. Princess, you're not in human territory anymore. Maybe I should have told you this, but females are their mate's property. You are mine. He says, whispering in my ear, his breath touching my skin. Maybe I don't want to be yours. I say in protest. His hands touch my wrists, gently, sending an electric feeling through me which I try ignore. Don't fight me, he whispers. I fight against him, pulling relentlessly to get free. My body gives into his touch as his fingers graze my shoulders. My struggling suddenly stops as I lose control of my body. Should I have mentioned that an alpha has the most power over his mate? And lucky for you, I am an alpha. I just have been rather gentle and lax with you, letting you adjust, but I'd rather have to use the mate bond we share over you if it means you won't be as likely to escape me. I can't have an heir with anyone other than my mate, so I need you. He says. Please stop this. I want to go home. I say. Back there. You are mine. They hurt you and are lucky I haven't hurt them yet. He growls, pulling me to the bed and lying me down. Now you are going to be a good little mate, Sasha, or else I won't hesitate to begin restraining you to keep you here. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't mind threatening, if not taking the lives of humans you are close to. I'll do anything it takes to keep you as mine, he says. So will you behave, my princess? He asks. Why yes. I whimper. He leans forward over me and kisses my lips. He breaks away and I look up at him. So innocent, it's adorable. He comments, running his fingers gently along my cheek, caressing my skin gently. Chapter 9. Sasha. Can you tell me where you're taking me? I ask as he pulls me by my hand down the passage right after kissing me. Reasons, he says bluntly as he opens a door. I am led into a room and I suddenly hear the door close. Please keep the door open, I say, nervous about being with him in a room with the door closed. No. Why not? Don't you trust me? I ask softly. Can't I close the door? He asks. I barely know you. I don't feel comfortable with the door closed. Please, we just met and I don't entirely trust you yet. Please, can you keep it open, I say. His hand runs gently over my cheek, caressing my skin, and his other hand intertwines with mine, and he gently leads me through the room with grace that makes me follow without question, and before I know it I am on a crimson-red throw which neatly covers a king-sized bed with the werewolf Alpha in front of me. My heart races as his hands slowly and lightly move over my skin, sending indescribable strange shivers through me. I won't open the door because just as I haven't earned your trust, you have definitely not earned mine, Sasha. I completely understand running away from me, but I don't like it, and it is a behavior I must stop now to ensure it does not become a habit. As much as any wolf enjoys a chase, there is always a chance of losing you, of you dying or getting hurt in your little escapes, he says. You kidnapped me. You took me against my will because you think I am your mate or something. I may not have the best or most loving family, but they are the reason I am alive. If you didn't know, I have a life. I didn't ask nor want to be taken from it just to be some object that you can control like a puppet. You keep me locked up in rooms like a prisoner. The first thing I found when I woke up was a locked room, and you didn't even tell me the truth. You left me in the dark and thought you could just keep me here and not tell me why I was even here. I say, angry. True, but I didn't want you to fear me, and it's my instinct to keep you here where you are safe, he says. Suddenly he pins me down, my back against the throw, and he takes something from a drawer in the side table, and my heart races, fearing the worst. Calm down, Sasha. I'm not going to mate with you yet, he says, almost laughing. I open my eyes to see something held in his hand with a needle on the end. Now, although be a good girl and stay nice and still, I don't want to hurt you more than necessary. Females sometimes give their mates some trouble, so it's always good to have a chip placed in them so they can be tracked. This will, however, not be a chip. It's a substance that will mix with your blood, and I will be able to track your location if you run away. I can follow your scent, but it can be a bit hard at times. This way I can get you much quicker, he says. I lift my knee repeatedly against his sore spot till I can easily push him off me, and I get up and run to the door and open it and close and lock it. I run and throw the key on the floor and continue running through the mansion till I reach the back door, and I run outside and I see a shed and run inside it, and the wind slams it behind me. I turn and try open it only to find there is no handle on the inside, and I push the door as hard as I can to no avail, and I fall on my knees, tears streaming from my eyes as the feeling of helplessness takes over. Someone will find me sometime and take me back to the werewolf Alpha, or he will find me, and either way I'll end up with that tracking stuff in me. I hate needles. I just want to go home. I miss my life from not too long ago. Chapter 10. Dylan. I angrily bash my shoulder against my bedroom door, desperate to find my mate and wondering why I decided to have a door that was werewolf-proof. I stop pushing the door as I feel a breeze against my skin, and I realize I had been so focused on banging down my door to notice the open window. I run and jump out the window, shifting mid-jump into my magnificent pure black furred wolf. I sniff the air to catch her scent, and I manage to catch it strong nearby. I growl, knowing that she must be hurt, as she wouldn't still be close after she has had an hour to escape, since I have been too stupid to contact the pack. I follow her scent to the old wooden house, well-play house, my father built me when I was about 4. I had completely forgot about it. I used to play with my beta and gamma here all the time. I'm surprised it is still in decent condition. I shift into my human form and open the door, and my eyes fall on the curled-up, sleeping figure of my mate lying on the ground. Traces of tears can be seen from her eyes. I smile knowing she didn't run away, although she did knee me, and it was painful as it would be for any male werewolf or not. I reach for a blanket and dust it off and lean close to her to hug her, and she grabs me in her sleep and I cuddles into me. Enjoying the warmth I provide her, and I lean down and plant a gentle kiss on her forehead before succumbing to her unconscious wishes, and I hold her small frame in my strong arms. She fits against me perfectly. She'll someday understand why I have had to do these things to her. Why I almost put a tracking serum in her. Chapter 11. Sasha. I open my eyes to be met with a blurred image of a man's t-shirt against my face. I try move away, but I can't. I wiggle around till I can get some space to breathe, and I see his sleeping face. He looks so handsome and innocent asleep it completely defies the image if the guy who treated me like a possession or a pet and tried to put a tracking serum in me. Wait, I was asleep in his arm, he probably has already put it in me. That jerk. I pull from him and punch him hard in the face, and I hear an animalistic growl from him, and his eyes soften as they land on me as I glare at him. Morning, darling, why did you punch me? You know it doesn't really hurt. I have a high pain tolerance, he says, and I look down. In most areas, he finishes. You think you can just do as you please with me? I don't want anything to do with you. Understand that. I appreciate that you helped me get away from my abuse, but there is one thing I don't like, and that is being used as a possession and locked up all the time. I say, trying to get out his hold. He turns me and he sits on me, pinning me to the floor. I lock you up because your instinct seems to be to flee all the time, and I don't want to lose you. Unlike in some stories of fiction on my kind, we don't get second chance mates. We get one mate. One soul mate which we cannot reject. Some wolves never even meet their soul mate. You realize I can't have kids with anyone other than you. I don't know if you are the same, being human, but we can only have kids with our mates, he says, gently caressing my cheek. I'm 17 and in high school. I don't want to and shouldn't be thinking about having children, I say. I'm just telling you about the future, he says. You can't decide my future for me, werewolf. I don't care if you're some alpha or whatever to your kind, but to me you're nothing but a creep. A guy who kidnapped me. I don't care if I'm your soul mate as you claim I am. I won't be treated as a possession and some OB. You're not a possession nor an object. You're my mate, Sasha. I love you, and if you can't accept that, then you'll have to live with it. If you think some words are going to persuade me to release you, you are very much mistaken. I'll admit that kidnapping you wasn't a very nice thing, but then I'll do anything to prevent my mate from leaving me. Fate has given you to me, he says, running his finger along my cheek. I can decide my own fate, I say. You can try, but you'll fail, my love, he says, getting off me and offering a hand to help me up. I slap away his hand and get to my feet and walk to the door and try push it open, only to fail. He pushes it, and it easily opens, and I walk past him, intentionally not giving him any signs of appreciation. He grabs my waist and pulls me to him. You're going the wrong way, darling, he says, slightly growling. I never asked you for directions, I say, kneeing him again where it hurts and walking in my direction. Go that way and I'll have my warriors bring you back to me, he says, and I start running in that direction, and I hear him howling for backup. I clench my fists in anger as I run. I notice a lake and I dive in it, and while I am under the water I see an underwater cave and I swim there. Luckily it isn't too deep nor exposed. I swim inside it and surface to see a cave which is likely inside the cliff that surrounded one side of the lake. I pull myself out the water and begin to walk further into the cave till I see an exit, and I resume running to my escape, happy to see light after walking in the pitch-dark cave, hoping it wasn't a dead end and I wouldn't turn some corners and be delivered into a death trap. A wolf suddenly pounces on me, snarling as it knocks me to the ground, and I struggle beneath it. Let me go. I'm not going back to the jerk werewolf Alpha or whatever he is. I don't care if he claims to be my mate. I shout, struggling, the claws of the wolf sinking into me. The wolf shifts into a man, and I see he is rather scruffy in his appearance, with his old clothes and breath smelling faintly of some sort of alcohol, and a smirk is drawn by his lips. I was going to kill you, human girl, but it seems you may have some use to me, he says, his voice screaming danger. He gets to his feet and forces me up and punches me hard in the git, causing me to go limp as he carries me off. Chapter 12. Dylan. I paddle around the lake where her scent last was, and I swim back under in wolf form, considering my instincts were so desperate for her that my wolf took over and I can't find her anywhere, and I am panicking. I mean, my mate has literally just vanished. My eyes fall on a cave and I swim inside and I surface, and I am delighted when I smell her stale scent. Not that I like that it is stale, but at least I have some sort of a lead in the meantime. I follow the path of her scent until I see her blood. Andy can tell it is hers by scent. It isn't much blood, but she was here and injured, and that is not good. I howl loudly so my warriors know where to find me, and I continue running after her trail, finding it leading into the neutral lands, also known as Rouge lands, since the Rouges needed to be somewhere. I follow her scent deep into the unclaimed territory, desperate to find and be with my little mate who is probably so scared right now. Sasha, I don't want to be bait for that jerk now, let me go. I scream, struggling in the ropes that bind me to the chair. Somebody shut her up already. One of them groans. She screams in our ears when we try, and this is why I don't see why we need increased hearing. I smirk and scream louder. Be quiet, girl. The man shouts at me, covering my mouth, and I bite his hand. Incredibly hard, and like a dog he seethes in pain after a while of me hanging on his hand with my teeth and trying to snap his bones with my limited strength. However, it appears I did well as he rips his hand away and there is blood on his hand. You're like a rabid dog. He hisses at me. I'm not a dog. I'm a girl who really doesn't want to be here. Until you understand that, I guess we won't see eye to eye on that then, I say. How does your mate put up with you? Doubt he'll get his air quickly. Well, would have anyway, considering he won't survive the trap we have set in place. You know what an alpha's biggest weakness is? Their mate. They'll do anything to protect their mate. Some give up their lives to protect their other half. He did nothing but keep me locked up, I say. You don't think it was to protect you from wolves like us? Wolves who wouldn't think twice about crushing your heart or any bone or organ in your body. In fact, why don't we give your mate something to look forward to when he sees you? Think of it as a makeover. Human girls, well, girls in general like makeovers, right? He says with a smirk. I say, honestly, considering I have never been someone who indulges in beauty products, although having some lipstick or eyeshadow every now and then is still nice. That's a shame, because I'm going to enjoy giving you one that your mate is just going to love, he says, and I feel myself trembling in fear. I think anyone in my position can take an accurate guess that the makeover is not going to be a fun one, and there will not be any makeup involved in the process. His nails turn to claws and scrape at me, and I scream out in pain as wounds are made that have deep crimson red seeping from them, the liquid making me feel slightly queasy. Not that I have time to focus on that, as his claws mar my body and inflict absolute agony on me. Chapter 13. My ears perk up as I hear a loud scream which I identify as Sasha's. I don't wait for my backup to catch up with me, and I race towards the sound, smelling her blood and scent increasing. I break open a door to an old shack-like shed and run down the steps inside to see cells with the bodies of lifeless wolves, rouge and non-rouge alike. I follow Sasha's scent, afraid of what has become of her, and I open a door, and I see a chair against a metal wall with Sasha tied to it. Her arms tied behind it and her ankles bound to the chair legs and her waist to the chair. Her body slumps forward consciously. Her beautiful brown hair is now messed up and hangs down. Sasha, I exclaim, shifting into my human form and running to her, and the door closes behind me. What did you do to her? I growl, turning to face two rouges. I gave her a makeover specially for you, don't you like it? I mean, what is the saying, beauty is pain? One of them sneers, walking towards her, and I snarl angrily, and he steps back. I lift her head gently and look into her eyes, which she struggles to keep open, and I look at the bloody wounds marring her soft, fair skin. No, Sasha. Stay with me, darling. I beg her. I turn around and run at one of them and begin to mercilessly pound her into the ground. Just a little makeover, huh? I'd like to give you one as well then, I say, pounding him. I see the door closing. Come back here, coward. I snarl. Coward, sure, but I wonder who will die first, you or your mate. I bet it will be you. Wolfsbane in its gas form can't do any damage to her. Not immediately anyway, and it wouldn't do anything if she wasn't in such terrible state. Instead, it'll slowly and painfully kill her after infecting her wounds. The infections will increase her pain, and if she doesn't die from that, will kill her once you drop dead. Maybe you should kill her to give her some mercy. He sneers through a gap that allows only sound through. I see the wolfsbane slowly enter the room, the blue gas coming from behind Sasha, and I see it was a bomb that wouldn't explode. Instead, it would let out wolfsbane gas when it detonated. I look at Sasha. She coughs from the gas, and I run to her and break her ropes and pull her to the other side of the room so the wolfsbane will take longer to reach us. I hold her in my arms tightly. She is so weak right now from already being exposed to quite a bit of the gas. Not for long, but it still affects her a bit as it is poisonous. She inhaled it. They didn't take into account that it is poisonous to inhale for humans. They however can touch it in solid form without any harm. Well, unless it is used on a dangerous object, then it's dangerous. I lie Sasha down and attempt to break down the door, eventually managing, with my wrists burnt from wolfsbane and pure silver dust on the door. I pick her up and carry her as I run out of the place. I see my warriors already engaging in battle and I want to help them, but Sasha is too weak to be left on her own. She's half conscious and coughing and urgently needs to go to the pack doctor. I'm going to the pack house to get her treated. She's in terrible condition. If she weren't, I'd stay and fight. I tell my beta as I pass him and he nods before finishing the fight by ending the rouge opponent. I run to the pack house or mansion and take her to the infirmary and I lie her on a bed. She coughs up some blood and I feel terrible. The doctor comes in. What happened? She exclaims. She was kidnapped by rogues and injured. She was poisoned by wolfsbane, I say. I see. I'll give her some medicine to combat the symptoms of wolfsbane and treat her wounds. She says. Now just hold her up for me. I want to give her something to knock her out. I growl angrily at the statement, cutting her off and pulling the weak and exhausted injured girl against me. It's best for her. She won't feel the pain when she's asleep. You don't want her to feel pain because she will. She just won't be able to express it as well because of her currently weak state. She says, and I reluctantly let her give Sasha the medicine and I watch as my mate falls unconscious in my arms and I lie her on the bed. Carly, the doctor, tends to her wounds and puts up an 4 for her with medicine to treat her. When can I take her back to my room? Ask. I want to monitor her a bit, but a few hours after she wakes up if she's stable. The drip will be kept in for a while, so you will need to be gentle with her. She must limit walking around for a while, so I suggest keeping her just inside the room and bathroom till the 4 is out. I nod in compliance. Chapter 14 Sasha. I open my eyes to see a whitewashed ceiling above me, and although I don't have an advanced sense of smell, I can smell the strong pungent scent of disinfectant in the room. I sit up on a white hospital bed and I look around to see a room resembling a hospital ward. I can faintly remember being brought here. I remember my vision going black every few seconds and agonizing pain along with blurred voices echoing in my head. They go back and forth and spin around me like cartoon birds around the head of a person who has just slammed into a tree. My head feels like I might just have very well done that. So sore and dizzy. I get out the bed and to my feet and I feel some sort of weakness, like I'm sick and I just want to throw up. There is an awkwardness to the steps where I sway and stumble with completely imperfect vision. I stumble and a pair of strong hands catch me and I am lifted and placed back on the bed. Easy there, Luna, the Alpha would beat me black and blue if you got another scratch or bruise on your body. A voice says, the Alpha. Wait, why am I back here? I exclaim. The Alpha rescued you, Luna. Luna. I am not a moon now, let me go back home. I say, pushing him away and getting up, and I am suddenly pulled back by a cord and I see an 4. I rip the 4 out and I walk towards the door. The door opens and I see the werewolf Alpha in front of me. He looks at my wrist angrily, his eyes following the dripping blood. I step back, frightened by his angry glare, and I hold my wrist to my chest in my other hand and my body trembles. His hand grabs my wrist and he pulls me close and my heart races in fear. John, go get the doctor. She needs her 4 back in, he says, and picks me up, puts me on the bed. I struggle to get out the bed and I kick him in an attempt to go. Alpha, do you want me to sedate her? I stop at those words and crawl back. Please let me go. I whisper, afraid and slightly confused still. The wolfsbane is having a bad effect on you. You're not usually scared like this from what I can gather, the woman says. Please let me go. I want to go home, I say, tears in my eyes. No, my darling mate, you are already home. This is your home now and you will not return to the place you previously called home. Ever. Understand? He shouts at me and I crawl further back. Please, Alpha, calm down. You're scaring her. You don't know how it feels to do everything possible to keep your mate safe, only to be time and time again rejected and for her to want to leave you. No, because you don't have a mate. He shouts at her. Leave her alone. She did nothing wrong. I shout. Quiet. He shouts at me, his eyes pure black, and I crawl back afraid. His pupils are sheer black. A complete color change that is not possible and is utterly terrifying, as is the snarling of a growl in his voice. Something animalistic and wrong. I feel my hand slip and the bed disappears from beneath my hands as I tumble over the side. The floor gets closer and closer until it meets with a harsh impact that sends my head spinning and turns my vision to black. Chapter 15 Dylan. I stare in disbelief at my passed-out mate lying on the ground, blood pouring from her nose and wrist. And no Sasha. Sasha, baby, wake up. I'm sorry I lost control. Please baby wake up, I say holding her unconscious body. Tears drop her pale face and I gently move a stray strand of hair out her eyes. I gently lie her on the bed. Do what you need to, I sigh leaving knowing it is best for me to leave her right now. I'm such a jerk. The most perfect human girl ever happens to be my mate. I should have rescued her like Prince Charming, not a stalker, and I kept her locked up in a tower like Rapunzel, and in every telling of that story the girl resents the person who kept her in that tower. She's so smart and brave. I've never seen a girl like her. One who didn't just turn to putty the second she saw me, human or wolf. She's the perfect Luna. She'll give me a strong heir. I know it. However, that doesn't make my actions any better. She wouldn't take being kept here for the purpose of bearing an heir very well. She can be so sweet and innocent one second and the next she'll kick me where it hurts the moment I anger her, and she'll probably kick me and run away when I tell her the purpose of an alpha's mate or any wolf's mate. I'm Alpha Dylan Black, the Blood Alpha. Ever since I took over when I was 16 I have been known as one of the most ruthless and feared alphas in history. Hence the title, the Blood Alpha. I struggled to find my mate and people believed I was so ruthless that I didn't had one or she took one look at me and ran out of fear. Some even speculated that I killed her. They were right in one way or another. My mate wants to run away from me. She doesn't want my love, affection, care or money. She wants me to leave her alone and let her go back to a home of abuse. Tears fall from my eyes and I slam my bedroom door behind me, refusing to let anyone see through my heart of stone. To let anyone see a single emotion-based tear slip from my eyes. Sasha has every right to hate and fear me. I've heard of some wolves abusing their mates despite them being a gift. No one could kill their mate, at least. I've always hated it when a male abused his female. They are given to us for us to care over them. Werewolves aren't all monsters. The ones who beat their own gifted soulmates are. I am a monster. I punched mine in the face, hard enough to knock her out. Could have even killed her. I wish I could let her go right now, but I can't. My pack needs a Luna, as do I. And she was chosen for it, and my wolf side would never allow her to leave forever. I'd search for her till I found her. My fist punches into a wall, and a huge hole forms, and the wall crumbles down to dust, and I sigh knowing I'll need to get it fixed. Chapter 16 Sasha. I lie in the bed, my eyes closed as I pretend to sleep with Dylan, the werewolf alpha, in the room. I don't want him to talk to me, to touch me, or to even look at him or be near him, but telling him that could result in him shouting at me and my nose actually being broken. The doctor told me I was lucky it missed my nose and his instincts made him go gentler on me because I'm his mate. I don't want this life. I don't want to fear my husband. I want a man who doesn't kidnap me, who is a human, who loves me out of choice and works his way into my heart through kindness, not locking me in rooms and forcing himself on me and trying to put tracking stuff in me. Why does my life have to be so messed up? Sasha, I know you're awake. I can hear you crying, his voice says, laced with sadness. Probably some tactic to make me feel sympathetic and develop feelings for him. Give him a chance and then fall for him despite everything he has done. This isn't some fairy tale. This is reality, and I refuse to develop feelings for him. Not after what he has done. He doesn't understand me. He doesn't understand my life. I could have run away from home to escape the pain and what felt like slavery, but my parents would have, despite their actions, paid for me to go to university. Something I wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise without a loan, or something which I doubt I could have easily paid back. Scholarships were always a possibility, but my parents told me it would be selfish to take it when they could benefit someone else. That is what they told me when they weren't drunk, at least. Sasha, baby, I'm sorry for hurting you. I should have felt the rage inside of me and gone to let it out before coming to you, but I just wanted to see you, and having you trying to leave sent me over the edge. I'm sorry. I won't offer to do anything for your forgiveness because we both know what you will ask and it will be a no, he says. Then don't waste your time here. Go away and leave me alone. You're a waste of space in here right now, I say, not sparing the wolfman a single glance. Sasha, I'm sorry that you were paired with the worst mate you could have gotten. I'm not a good man, and I'll never deny that. With great power comes great responsibility is not true. with great power comes more power to hurt others. I'm sorry that I've ruined your life. I know I've been a jerk, but I wish it could have been different. I'll never wish for a better mate than you, but I'll always regret what I've done to you, and it hurts to know I could never rectify what I've done. I could never regret taking you away from that abusive home of yours," he says, and I hear the door close. Tears pour from my eyes, and I bury my head in my pillow. His honesty was so nice, but he hurt me. I could never forget that. I never want to change for any man. Not again. He hurt me so badly, yet I desire to have him break down my walls, one by one, to have them crumble down and to hold him. Why am I now thinking like this? My heart will soon become like putty in his hands, and he'll mold it and set to his will before he smashes it to pieces. Like every man has. I don't want to fall in love. Well, I do. It's human nature to want someone to hold you and to kiss you gently and comfort you. But life is not a fairy tale. It never has been one, it never will, and I don't want to be a victim of that.